I think with the end, at the very end of Simon Lamed, page 79. We didn't do Sif Hey yet.
Hey.
Yeah. Okay, so it's page 79, Simon Lamed Sif Hey. ויש מי שאומר שמספלל תפילת ערבית מבעוד יום עד שלא יניח תפילין, אין לו להניחם אחר כך. We know it's they don't do it much, but definitely in Chutz where they daven early, especially in the summer. Right? They'll daven Mariv 7:30ish, and night might not be till 9, 9:30, 10, even later. Right? So someone's daven Mariv early, and he hasn't yet put on tefillin. Then he realizes afterwards he hasn't put on tefillin. Can he still put on tefillin or not? Okay? So the Shulchan Aruch says here that some say that if he's already davened Mariv, he can't put on tefillin afterwards. Right, let's have a look at the MISHNA Berura.
He's essentially nullified the day.
Right. Let's see MISHNA Berura. ואפילו עוד היום גודל, קודם שקיעה, לפי שכבר עשוי לזמן הזה לילה. He's already made it into night time. By davening, he's turned it into night. בזמן שכיבה בקריאה שמע תפילה של ערבית, he's already said קריאה שמע. Right, קריאה שמע one says it when one's going to sleep, the end of the beginning of the evening. תפילה של ערבית.
חבר'ה.
וימן יניח בו תפילין, יחזור ויעשה יום. והרי הן שתי קולות שסויסו. So he's contradicting himself. If he davens Mariv, says Kriyas Shema, and then he puts on tefillin, it's a contradiction. However, the Achronim decided halacha the mechuyev lahanichon below bracha cause man shekodem seis hakechavim. However, the Achronim decided that he should put them on, however, without a bracha. Shouldn't make a bracha on them, but he should put them on, not like the Shulchan Aruch.
Is that misafik? Were they mechayev him misafik? Maybe he's still mechuyev, even though he accepted the night.
Right.
But maybe misafik he's still mechuyev because the Metzias is its day.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be because of Safek. I don't know. Good question. Is it because of Safek? I don't know. If he hasn't davened, even though the rest of the community have all davened, if he himself personally hasn't davened, then he can put them on even with a bracha. If it's still daytime. This is only if he hasn't yet put on tefillin that day. This is only if he hasn't yet put on tefillin that day. If he's already put on tefillin once that day, then he should not put on tefillin, even in the case where he hasn't davened and the community has. He should not put on tefillin. Okay? Okay. Let's move on. Simon Lamed Aleph.
Does that go to 3 stars or Banish Moses?
So we talked about that. We mentioned that
this time when we're saying right now this obligation, right. Is this a concern up to 3 stars, or obviously after 3 stars you can't put it on?
Right. So we saw the MISHNA Berura talked about. The MISHNA Berura said up to 3 stars. He said in Sifkot Gimel. Right, if he hasn't yet put on that day, if he hasn't yet put on tefillin on that day, then he should put them on even during Bein Hashmoshes until the stars. Okay, Simon Lamed Aleph. Din tefillin b'Shabbos v'Yom Tov v'Boi Beis Ivim. Sif Aleph. B'Shabbos v'Yom Tov also laniach tefillin. On Shabbos v'Yom Tov, one is not allowed to put on tefillin. Midnei shehem atzmam ois. Tefillin Shabbos v'Yom Tov are a sign between us and Hashem. V'manichim b'hem ois acher v'hizilzel ois shalahem. If we put on another sign, then it's being mezalzel. It's denigrating the ois of Shabbos and Yom Tov. Shabbos and Yom Tov is an ois. It stands by itself, and therefore it doesn't need the sign of tefillin, another symbol between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, let's have a look at the MISHNA Berura Sivkotten base. Also laniach. Va'afilu b'tiltul yesh emim gam kein da'asa tefillin muktzah. So this is really halacha-theory Shabbos, but the MISHNA Berura mentions it here as well. That there's 2 opinions in terms of tefillin if they're muktzah. Yesh omrim gam kein da'asim lo l'tzorch guf omrim mekoyim kishar klishim lachta le'isa. Some say that tefillin are klishim lachta le'isa. We're not going to go into explaining all the different types of muktzah, but what it comes out is that you can only one would only be allowed to move tefillin if one needed the spot where the tefillin is on, or if one needed to use the tefillin themselves for some sort of heter use. I'm not going to go to all different examples now. Leave that for
what's the halacha-theory? Kshira? Kosher?
Because one's not allowed to put them on. No, because one's not allowed to put them on.
It says
that's the issa. The issa is to put on tefillin.
It says kli shemoneh-esrei.
Correct. The issa is one's not allowed to put on tefillin on Shabbos and Yom Tov.
So it makes
that makes it into kli shemoneh-esrei because it's tefillin are there for doing a mitzvah putting on tefillin, and one's not allowed to do the mitzvah putting on tefillin. Therefore, it's kli shemoneh-esrei issa. Some say if one's worried they're going to fall or they're going to get stolen, one can also move them from place to place. One can be making in a time of need. We'll talk about it more one day when we get to Simen Ches, Hilchas Muktzah. It talks about tefillin, talk about the different types of muktzah.
The issue of a sign, I know.
Yeah.
There are 3 signs, right? The bris milah is a sign as well.
Yeah.
Which we have always.
Right. So,
if the issue is you can't put on tefillin on Shabbos because it's a sign on top of a sign, that's
excellent.
true.
Good question. So there's a super question. This question bothered me a long time ago. The first time I learned this halacha, many years ago, it bothered me. It took me a long time till I found the answer. There's 2 different answers given, I found in the Achoyim and the Poskim. One answer, the Levush Pri Megodim, they say that is we have to have it's like there's 2 Eidim. We always have 2 witnesses. 2 is always the number to prove something, to show something. So we always want 2 at the same time. So we always have Milah as the first one, and then during the week we have Tefilin as the second, and during Shabbos we have Shabbos as the second one. That's the answer. And then there's Moshe Feinstein who says no. The point is to have one ois. We don't want to take a second one. Will denigrate from the first one. The reason why with the bris milah we have the
which is what
it says here. Yeah. Exactly. The reason why with bris milah it's not like that. With bris milah we say that during the bris milah one should always we dafka put on tefillin during the bris milah, right? Mm-hmm. One should definitely where they do it straight after shachris, the whole community leave on their tefillin until after the bris milah. Here, if they do it at a later time during the day, the Avi Ben, the father of the son, will put on tefillin. So why does he dafka put on tefillin? It should denigrate the ois, right? The Moshe Feinstein says no. When he's doing the act of milah, he wants to show what he's doing. He wants to demonstrate to everyone the reason why I'm doing this act is to put a sign between me and Hashem, and that's why he puts on the tefillin to demonstrate what he's doing in the bris milah. I'm making a sign between the baby and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So therefore he puts on the tefillin which show that ois. That's how Moshe Feinstein.
Nobody brings the svara that milah is a private sign and the other 2 are public signs?
I can't say no one brings it. I haven't seen everyone, but I didn't see that brought down.
No, but that issue doesn't work entirely because we're not supposed to reveal the rosh. We cover it. So
the shaliach we said it can either be covered or either or, right. So rosh should be visible, and the shaliach
is really
the shaliach makes it into a public sign. You should have a public and a private. Right? Interesting idea. I haven't thought about it. Okay, let's continue. Let's move on. Sif base. Back to Shulchan Aruch. Let's move on to Sif base. B'chol hamoyed. גם כן עושה להניח תפילין מהטעם הזה, בעצמוי, שימי החול המועד גם הם אויס. On Chol HaMoed as well, one should not put on tefillin. Because Chol HaMoed is like Yom Tov, it's also a sign between us and Hashem. Hago. ויש אומרים שחול המועד חייב בתפילין. וכי נוהגים בכל גלילות האלו. The Gemara says that some say that one should put on tefillin on Chol HaMoed, and this is the minhag in Ashkenaz, says the Gemara. In Ashkenaz, the minhag was to put on tefillin in Europe. Lanichon b'moyed, ulevorich aleim, even to make a bracha. One doesn't make the bracha loudly, publicly. According to the Gemara, one puts on tefillin with a bracha. Okay? Let's see the MISHNA Berura of Cotton. Sif Cotton Ches. Shein v'chula. Right, so he's talking about whether the Gemara says not to make a bracha loudly. The reason why the Gemara says to make the bracha quietly is because some people put on tefillin, some don't. In order not to cause a machlokas, in order not to be provocative, the people who put on tefillin should not make the bracha loudly. V'chein lo yelech bohem b'shul harabim v'es haknesses. He shouldn't go publicly where the tefillin to shul, whether outside the shul on the way to shul. V'achronim iskimu l'das hataz the yoser tov lanichem b'loi bracha. The Mishnah says that achronim hold that one should put on tefillin, preferable to put it on without a bracha. Ki ha-bracha is einon ma'akvos, so the halacha is if you have a sofek, one shouldn't make a bracha, right? And the bracha doesn't stop one being mekayem the mitzvah. One mekayem the mitzvah in its entirety even without a bracha. So the opinion of the Shulchan Aruch is to not put them on. The opinion of the Shulchan Aruch of the Ramah is to put them on with a bracha. The Achronim hold, let's go down the middle because of the sofek. Let's put on the tefillin, but without a bracha because it's a sofek. Okay, that's what the Mishnah Berura says. The befrat shagros al kosav she'ein ladas hayishomim ikar bashas. Especially because the Gra says the opinion of the Gra is is that like the Shulchan Aruch that one shouldn't put on tefillin at all. Right? So the Umar is the Mishnah Berura is just using the Gra as another reason not to make a bracha, right? Which is what is done in most Nusach Ashkenaz and Chutzlars. However, in Eretz Yisrael, where we do everything according to the Gra, the minhag in the whole of Eretz Yisrael, even in Ashkenazim, is we don't put on tefillin at all on Chol HaMoed because of the minhag of Gra, because the Gra says not to put on tefillin. Okay. Okay. Fine. Let's just read the bottom line because it's an important line. It's the second bottom line in the middle. There's a full stop. Then it says Umisha in Menech Tefillin.
In MISHNA Berura?
In the MISHNA Berura, I've just jumped to the second line on the page. Second bottom line of the page in the middle. Umisha in Menech Tefillin b'chol hamoed shemispala beis haknesses shemanichim tefillin yesh lo gam ken hanichon bli bracha. Someone who does not wear tefillin, his minhag is not to put on tefillin. He happens to be davening today in a shul where they do put on tefillin. Right? What should he do? Yeshu gam kein lanichon. He should put on tefillin and be bracha. Right? He's davening in a place
without a bracha.
Without a bracha. He can't make a bracha because he holds Yushin. But he has to do what everyone else does. If all the Sibba are putting on tefillin, he has to put on tefillin like the rest of the community. This is something which bothers me in different places, that you go to a community where it has a certain minhag, and you have people coming in and doing things according to their minhag. Whether it's Kaddish, or whether it's Kedusha, they say loudly according to their minhag, which is against the minhag and the shul, right? Which is wrong. Right? It's very clear in Hilchos Minhagim that one's supposed to, one may not go against the minhag of the place. If you have your own minhag, you can do it privately, but if you're in a shul that has a particular minhag, you have to conform with the minhag of the place you're in, with the shul you're in. Right? Here's someone who doesn't put on tefillin. He's never put tefillin on his life in Chol HaMoed. He goes to a shul where they put on tefillin, he puts on tefillin. Right?
If he has it. If he has it with him.
Well, if he hasn't, then he shouldn't go to the shul.
Yeah.
Right? If he's going to the shul and puts on tefillin, he puts on tefillin. His personal minhag is overridden by the fact that he has to conform with respect the customs of the place he's in. Right? Sorry? That's right, that's what I mentioned. Kosher again, Kaddish, it bothers me very much. With Kaddish, Kedusha, people come in and do their own minhag in a shul which has a different minhag. An Ashkenazi boy goes to a Sephardi place, he should do this. If he's an Oval and needs to say Kaddish, he should do the Sephardi Kaddish, and vice versa. Sephardi comes to an Ashkenazi place, he should do the Ashkenazi Kaddish. Okay, let's move on. Simon Lamed Beis. Okay, let's give us a short introduction to Simon Lamed Beis. Simon Lamed Beis, first of all, is a very, very long simon. If you look at the top, it says Seder Ksivas Tefillin Uboy Nun Beis Seifim, has 52 seifim. Okay? Now, this simon is not so relevant for the regular person, for us. Right? Because it's all about writing tefillin, making tefillin, how one makes them, how one writes one. It's very interesting and important to know the basics. However, the details are less important for us because we're not writing the tefillin or making the tefillin. Okay, so I'm going to try and go through this simon with mentioning all the important points, so we get the background in how to do it, but in a kind of a faster way. Right? We're going to read less MISHNA Berura. I'm going to explain more Baal Peh, so that we move through the simon, we understand how tefillin are written, what we're actually putting on, but without all the nitty-gritty details, because they're not so relevant for us. Okay, that's what we're going to try and do. Okay, so let's start. Seder Ksivas Tefillin. Sif Aleph. Mitzvahs Tefillin sheyichtov arba parshas. The mitzvah of tefillin is to write four of the parshas of the Torah we write in the tefillin. Shehein, what are they? Kadesh li kol b'chor ad l'moyado. These first two parashas are the end of Parashas Boy. They're one after the other, the end of Parashas Boy. Both of them mention the mitzvah of tefillin. Right? All these four parashas, what they have in common is all four parashas mention the mitzvah of tefillin. Right? And the third parasha, Parashas Shema, we're all familiar with the Parashas Shema, the first parasha of Shema, which is in Parashas Vayischanan, Parashas V'hoyim Shomoya ad al ha'oretz, and then the Parashas Vayishema, the second Parashas Shema, which is in Parashas Eikev. Hago says the Umar, Soch lekosvom kaseder hazeh. One has to write them in this order. Lichtov tchilo hakodemes b'Torah. The order the Shulchan Aruch just now is the order they're written in the Torah. That's why I mentioned the parashas, right? The two at the end of Boy, after that Vayischanan, afterwards Eikev. It's in the order that they're written in the Torah, and one has to write them in this order. V'mshina posel.
We're talking about the Rosh now, or we're talking
about both.
Both, okay.
Right? V'mshina posel. And if you wrote them in the opposite order, the tefillin are posel. Preferably, and this is not a ma'akev, one should write the tefillin sheyad before the tefillin shalosh. Okay, if one did it the other way around, it's okay. Preferably, one should write the tefillin sheyad before the tefillin shalosh. But what's not okay is to write the parashas in the order, not in the order written in the Torah. One has to write in the order written in the Torah. Okay. Right. Let's see the Mishnah Berura Sivkot Aleph. Sivkot Aleph. Toch lichtov dalet de'echod kol kach gedoylo k'mo dalet daltim ktanim. Ve'efshe she'ein mesharin oisei k'sav rak kol sheyesh boi daltim ktanim oid sagi. Shemach inagin lichtov rak gedoylo mishar daltim sheboi oisei k'sav. The dalet of the word echod is written very large. We do the dalet very large. Okay.
It's very large in the Sefer Torah also, right?
Yeah.
So it's just saying, make sure you do the same thing in the Torah.
Okay, let's move on. Sif base. Sif base. Shalosh yichtov kol echod beklaf levado. Sheliad koisvon kulam beklaf echod. But tefillin shalosh, each one is written on a separate piece of parchment, meaning we have 4 pieces of parchment. Whereas the sheliad, one writes them all on one piece of cloth. Right?
Consecutive.
Correct. Okay. Let's have a look at the bottom line of the Mishnah Berura. Vida. The tefillin shel yad tzorich is gam kein kosov dafka bedaled amudim. Kol parasha ba'omad acher. The tefillin shel yad, even though it's all on one piece of parchment, each one should be written in a separate column. If you open the tefillin shel yad, open up the roll, you'll see that each one is written. There's one column which is the first parasha, the second parasha is the second column, third column, which means that the columns are going to be different widths, right? Because the parashas have different lengths. So V'hoyim Shemaya, which is the longest parasha, the column will be very long, right? Because we want it to be the same. We're limited by the height of the parasha. We're limited because we need it to fit into the tefillin. Whereas the length, there's no limit because it's rolled up, so you can make it as long as you want, right? So therefore,
each column is each the sentence is only on one line. The whole thing is really one long line.
No.
Each parasha we write in its own column. So you'll take the first parasha. You'll say, let's say you've got enough.
Approximately how many lines you can fit in tefillin? 3, 4?
I think they do 7, I think.
7?
I'm not sure, maybe we'll see. I'm not sure if there's halacha about this. Something like that. I'm not sure if there's halacha. We'll see as we go on. If it's clear halacha, there's any halacha about this. So,
okay. So how do you determine the length of the line of the parsha? You're dividing it by 7?
It'll be divided in a way that will fit in nicely into that. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay, let's move on. Sif Gimel. Yeah, we have time. Sif Gimel. Yichtevim b'dioi tochel. Bein sheish bo me'afetzim, bein shaloi bo me'afetzim. One has to write it with black ink. Whether it has in it me'afetzim, which is gulnut juice, and whether it hasn't. Okay, this is. I don't know if we're going to finish this. If there's a lot to talk about. First of all, what are afetzim? What are gulnuts?
Juice.
Gulnuts. Juice from gulnuts. What are gulnuts? What are gulnuts? Okay.
Gul stones.
Here it says my son wrote on the side gallnut resin.
Resin. Okay. Well, when I first learned Tefillen, and I came to the word afetzim, I went to ask someone, and I was learning in Gateshead, in the base of Medrash. I went to ask one of the Aveichim there, what are gulnuts? He said to me, what? You've never read Asterix? I said, no, actually, I haven't.
Never read what?
Apparently, Asterix and Obelix.
It's a comic.
It's a comic, yeah.
Wonderful comic.
I've never read it, but apparently anyone who's read Asterix knows what gulnuts are.
Where's that?
It's American, it's on Galicia.
Anyway, so what are gulnuts? It's very interesting what gulnuts are. Gulnuts grow on an oak tree. They are not the fruit of the oak. The fruit of the oak tree are acorns. It's very interesting. Gulnuts is a type of wasp which makes a small hole in the branch of the oak tree to lay its eggs. And the oak tree then creates a casing to surround the wasp. Okay, then the wasp grows inside there, the eggs hatch and it grows inside there. There's enough food there for it to live. And then it will make a hole and it leaves. Right, so if the gulnut has a hole, it means the wasp is left. If the gulnut hasn't got a hole, if you cut it open, you'll see the dead wasp inside. Okay? What's important for the reason why they use it for making the ink is because it has in it tannic acid. Right? Tannic acid is actually what the wasps need to they eat it. That's what they eat, and therefore the smaller gulnuts are actually better because the wasps haven't yet consumed the tannic acid, and therefore it's more.
Oh, it's not from the wasp.
More useful.
It's from the.
It's from the tree, right? Yeah, right. That's what a gulnut is. Okay, we'll continue. We'll continue tomorrow. Just discussing the other ingredients of the ink and what can make it from, one can make it from, should make it from, other sources of tannic acid. Okay.